What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Spidey Studios, here today. I am back with my lovely, sweet lady. And we are here because apparently it's Comic-Con weekend, so we are checking out some new things that are dropping from Comic-Con. First thing was the new Avatar series, Avatar the Seven Seas. So this is the sequel to Legends of Korra and Avatar the Last Airbender, original shows, the animated ones. And this is about the next Avatar. Now, as far as I remember, the next Avatar is one of a set of twins, if I'm correct. And one of them has spiritual powers, the spiritualness of the Avatar, I guess. And the other one doesn't, but only has the elements, which will be really interesting to see how that works. But essentially the premise is that I guess they're trying to find each other, whole spiel. I'm curious what the spirit animal of this Avatar is going to be, or if they both have two separate ones. Curious how that's going to work. I assume we'll probably see older Korra. We're going to see how the world is going to be after Korra's time as the Avatar, so that'll be interesting. And we will also be seeing the new animation style, because obviously every show has a different one. Except, I guess Korra kind of kept the same style loosely from the original, just modernized it.
Yep.
So this, I think, is a completely different animation style. From the looks of it, it looks like My Adventures with Superman. So, but I know My Adventures with Superman was animated by the people who did Korra. So, so let's check it out and see what we get. Ready?
Yep.
Oh yeah, because I forgot Korra made the real world and the spirit world.
Why do you look like me?
Elora needs to be prepared, because long ago our ancestors weren't. And the Avatar let us down.
So Korra was a failure. Damn. This visually stunning. Because they have two separate ones. We know they both have been. Okay.
Humanity is not ready for the Avatar's return. And yet, it's the one thing this world needs the most.
Huh. Okay. They didn't really give us too much. Okay. They didn't give us too much, but enough. So I guess essentially Korra failed. They're pretty much just leaning into that. Korra, I guess, letting the spirit world and the real world be connected was, I guess, her failure. Because that's what it seems like they're primarily focusing on, is the fact that the spirit world, I guess, is going crazy, and people are being attacked by spirit things from the looks of it. Spiritual type of energy that's just going around everywhere. And I assume that's Korra as an older lady. But she looks evil?
I feel like they're catastrophizing her, though.
Probably. Because, I mean, this is from the perspective of just regular people. So, you know, everybody
so
has their own
getting
perspective.
Her perspective.
Yeah,
Right.
so I assume we'll see her perspective from the new avatars. Because I guess there's two of them, because they both have bending. I thought it was just one had spiritual energy and one had bending, which is still an interesting choice. But them being twins is actually even more interesting, because I've always wondered if that were ever the case. Because none of the other avatars were twins. It was just one character. So now that it's twins, I wonder how that works.
Now, if I remember correctly, because, you know, each avatar is different elemental each time. So you have air with Aang, you have Korra, she was
water,
tribe.
and then Roku was fire.
So
and
then the next one should be Earth, which means
seems
that the twin might not be an avatar with all of that, but she's probably more spiritual. However, because she's from the Earth Kingdom, she can Earth
bend. That's fair. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Because, yeah, I was wondering how that was going to work. Because, yeah, if she would be an earthbender, then they both at least would be earthbenders.
Because she would have to be some kind of bender.
Yeah.
In order for
and if they're twins,
spiritual.
if they're twins, then they,
because even from the first, if you remember, they had twins in the first Avatar when they went to that one of the villages where they had a set of twins. One was a bender, one wasn't. So it's still possible.
I think I remember who you're talking about.
So it's still possible, but it's not entirely because it's Avatar. So you have to have some kind of power in order to be connected to the spiritual one.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So it seems like from the perspective of normal people, which I mean is something we did see in Korra's show, was that people disliked that they made the spirit world and the real world connected. But she felt that that was best for the world to have that both connected. Which, I mean, I think there was a good and a bad with it. The good with it is that it was able to bring back the airbenders, because the airbenders were completely wiped out other than Aang's kids and grandkids. But once Korra let the spirit world be connected with the real world, it started making other people airbenders as well. So it did bring balance in that regard, bringing back airbenders. But at the same time, it did bring a lot more spiritual enemies and threats that became more unpredictable, because people weren't ever prepared for spirits to be part of their world. So they kind of just had to adjust to it. So I do think that there was some pros and cons for that decision, which I did like. We got to see that and see people's perspective with that. I think it just will be interesting to see how people have grown with it years later. Like how people have grown accustomed to just spirits just roaming around. I think, like I said, I think they both have spirit animals, or maybe one of them does.
I'm thinking they're either bobcats or lynxes.
I have to see. I don't know who this is. She looked like an airbender. He?
I think he.
That's a guy? I mean...
Because they did a voice on him, I think. I think it's you. You muted it.
Yeah, hold on. I did it for copyright.
So they might be either...
They look like...
Because they're definitely going to be... No, they're lemurs? Because look at the
cat
tails.
lemurs.
Yeah, so they're in between either a bobcat, a caracal, or
but they look both
or
the
a lynx
same?
with a lemur tail and legs.
And back leg, yeah. So, let's say cat legs. Oh, and that one's missing a leg.
Yeah, remember, she didn't have a leg.
Dang, it sucks. Interesting. Okay. Which you would think with how advanced the technology was, even in Korra, they probably would give her a prosthetic.
But from the look of her compared to her twin, she did not grow up in a city. She probably grew up more wild. So
that's
that
fair.
would make more sense as to why she wouldn't be having more
that's fair.
technological.
And plus, if I believe this is the Avatar.
Yes.
So
I think so.
Yeah. So if this is the Avatar, then that would make sense in that regard too. But then the question is, I wonder why they were separated. Maybe. I wonder. Obviously, that'll be explained, but I'm curious why. Yeah, that one's an airbender. Okay, so... Which, I mean, I kind of guessed based on the outfit colors. So, I'm curious what role this character will have. Yeah, that one, I believe, based on the confidence of that character, because we don't even know any of their names.
That one's also an airbender.
Yeah, okay, so I'm assuming the airbenders have, armored outfits. Because because that other one had the same type of outfit, yeah. Yeah. So, because I remember when in Korra they had the traditional airbending outfits that Aang wore, and then years later when Aang's grandkids got older, they all modernized their outfits. So they had actual suits that had the what is it, the flying squirrel thing rather than the normal. Gliders that Aang would use and his son would use. So that'll be interesting. I assume this makes them... I wonder if they're going to be like the Fire Sages, where it was like a secret society who were guardians of the temples of the Avatar. Maybe this is a subsection of airbenders that are like the protectors of the next Avatar in some regard. Maybe. Because they would technically owe the Avatar, the past one, for bringing back the Air Nation. So that would be interesting if that's the case. And I'm assuming that could be relative or something. Yeah, so they're both earthbenders at the very least. That one has a glider.
Like a skateboard.
Yeah. The animation style I really like. It definitely looks like
Oh, what is that one?
My Adventures with Superman. Obviously, Legends of Korra.
It reminds me more of like Voltron, or there's this other one. It's like based off the D&D kind of thing. I have to see it, but it's on Prime. It's very much reminiscent of that.
It does remind me of another show. I forgot. It was the character that Lois looks like in My Adventures with Superman that everybody keeps saying she is. There's a character with like a short pixie cut, and she was darker skin. I forgot who the character's name was, but she was in like an animated show thing. I forgot what it was called, but I know people have made that reference a lot. But I'm surprised how fast the show is coming out. It comes out this October. I thought it wasn't going to come out until next year.
I mean, it has been.
I mean, it's been years since the last Avatar show.
Yeah.
But I mean, with all the Avatar content we got this year alone, I figured they would have waited until next year. Because we have already gotten season...
Vox Machina. That's what it is.
Okay. But I mean, like, the show, we already had the new Avatar movie, plus the second season of the live-action show. I figured this was going to be saved until next year. Along with maybe season 3 of the live action show, but that's cool. I'm not gonna complain for more Avatar content. So, but I am legitimately curious about this world because it seems more leaned into the spiritual side of the world of the Avatar, which I mean we've had glimpses of. We had more of it in Legends of Korra than we had it in Avatar, especially once we got to like season 2. And then moving forward, it was kind of more spiritual focused. Because like Korra already learned all her elements by the first season, other than air, and then she learned that by the end. So by that point, it was just more so focused on the spiritual side of things, which I actually liked because we didn't know that much about the spiritual world in Avatar. So I liked that we got to focus on it. But then I always said my biggest issue with Korra is that it lacked that. To me, it lacked that self-exploration with the character. Like, because the world was already established, she kind of already traveled everywhere and did everything mostly. It lost that wow factor of seeing them go from place to place, learning something new or experiencing something new that they never experienced before. That was something I loved about the original show, where everywhere we go, we were learning things as the characters were learning things. Or at the very least, they knew certain things, but not too much. With Korra, everything was just kind of set. Everybody knew everything about everywhere they were mostly going. So it wasn't anything new or wow. And like most of the places we went to were reminiscent of the older show, but they were just slightly tweaked or not that much different than they were before. Like Ba Sing Se was essentially the same as it was in the original Avatar show, except the queen was just more openly corrupted, rather than the king being a complete nuisance who didn't even know anything was happening. So I think in this case it'll be more spiritual focused. But it still feels like it has that exploration feel to it because they're much more younger, so they don't know too much about the world at all. I'm pretty sure this character doesn't even know that they're the Avatar, because they look even younger than 12. Because
They're like 8 or 9.
I want to say, because like usually the Avatar's not supposed to know they're the Avatar until they turn 16. That was the typical tradition.
But Korra even knew it even younger. So.
Yeah, but that's just because she showed signs of it so much sooner than everybody else did. So that's why they had to tell her. And because, what's his name? Zahir was hunting the Avatar at that time too. So they had to tell her to keep her safe in that regard. So that was fair. But, and then with Aang, it was a war going on. So that was fair too. But in this case, it seems like they're doing it, they knew, and they had to separate them. Maybe because spirits or whoever these enemies were seeing are after them also. So they had to at least maybe tell her so much sooner. And they had to keep them separated because maybe their connection made whatever was sensing them stronger. So separated. So it's sort of like Star Wars, where the only way to keep the kids who had the Force more powerful hidden was to separate them and put them in far corners of the world or the galaxy in that sense. So that'd be interesting. Okay. Yeah, October. Okay. I'm excited for this. It looks like it's going to be dropped on Disney or Paramount Plus. So I guess we will check that out, and that'll be our show we watch together. So I hope you guys enjoy our reaction. Let us know in the comments down below what your favorite part of this trailer was. Are you excited for this show? Are you not? What are your opinions, questions, comments, concerns? Hit us down in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share, and bell notifications so you guys will know when we post next. We're almost at 500 subscribers, so we would appreciate if you guys help us get up there. And we will see y'all next time. Peace.